Hey guys, what's up? So just yesterday something has happened that I would have never thought to be possible. Nintendo has announced a partnership with the mobile developer company DeNA, a Japanese company. They are the guys behind games like Marvel War of Heroes, Star Wars Galactic Defense, and Nintendo is partnering up with them to bring their characters to Android and iOS devices. If you would have asked me if that's something that could happen a week ago, I would have probably said no way. Some of the articles that I read said it was like long expected that they would do that, but in my mind Nintendo was always a company that pushes a very hard strategy that is tied to their products and doesn't derive from that. So DeNA now owns all the rights to their franchises, so basically that means in terms of franchises anything is possible. We will definitely see a Mario game, we will most probably see a Donkey Kong game. Do we see a Zelda game? Do we maybe see a Pokemon game? I don't know. Like, anything can happen at this point. There are no details disclosed to which franchises they're going to port, but they won't port existing games. They will create new games from scratch that are built only for mobile devices, Android and iOS. The games will obviously have to work with touch interfaces, so I'm very, very curious to see what's going to come out in the end. A consulting firm called Newzoo has predicted that mobile games are expected to produce more revenue than console titles for the first time in 2015, with a predicted 30.3 billion in sales. So it's absolutely understandable why Nintendo is finally jumping on that train. Especially freemium games are turning around a lot of money, so I can absolutely imagine that Nintendo is going down that route. What that means for the games worries me a little bit. You know, I can see things like, oh, your game over in Mario, do you want to continue play, just pay 99 cents for an extra life, or things like that, which is really a terrible idea. If they really go down that route, it would be understandable, but it would be a little bit sad, and I don't think it would do the brand Nintendo justice, really. But looking at the numbers and the market research, which they have done obviously as well, I have a feeling it's gonna be something along those lines. Not to say that you cannot still play Mario and not pay the 99 cents for the extra life, just to stick with that example. But what all this means in the bigger picture is that Nintendo finally gave into the market. Like I said before, previously they were driving a very, very hard strategy, never deriving from their own consoles. I mean, we've never seen a game by Nintendo on Xbox 360 or PS4 or anything like this. So that they're opening up now is actually quite interesting from a strategic point of view. The sales of the Wii U console in late January were at 9.2 million units, which is a lot, but then again, there are not that many games out, so I would imagine that they can slowly start to see that it's ripping a little bit of a financial hole into their company. Not to say that Nintendo is in financial trouble, I really doubt that. 9.2 million units are a lot of consoles, but it seems like they finally understood that by bringing their games to Android and iOS, they will just turn around a lot of money. And what's actually an interesting question is, what effect will this have on other touch-based games, right? Like, quite often we see jump and run games and they're kind of half-baked and the controls don't really work. It's very rare that you find a game that really utilizes touch-based controls when it comes to jump and run games in a proper way. At least I find that personally. So since Nintendo has a very high quality control, I could imagine that they put a lot of work in making sure that the touch controls work really well. And maybe Mario is not even a traditional jump and run game as we know it on Wii U or on the Game Boy or Nintendo DS. Maybe it's something completely different that is more built around touch controls. So I'm very, very curious where they're going to take this, and I think it's actually a good decision because it kind of nearly breaks open the boundaries that Nintendo has built around themselves and finally opens up new doors and new opportunities to maybe see Nintendo games on other platforms. And then finally, there was one more small thing that Nintendo also announced, which is that they are actually working on a new console. At the moment, it's called the NX, which is interesting. NX Nintendo X Nintendo 10. I don't know what that exactly stands for. Probably it's just a working title. But the fact that they are already working on a new console is also kind of admitting to the failure that is the Wii U, in my opinion. So I think it's in the very early stages, but at some point in the near future, we will see a new Nintendo console, but any details on the device are not yet disclosed, so we don't know anything except that it's called the NX. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think it's a good thing that Nintendo is opening up to mobile platforms, or do you think they kind of should stick to their own games, because they have been the only company really who does that in such a consequent way? So I think there are a lot of arguments on both sides. Let me know your your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave me a like if you did. Subscribe to my channel. As always, stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. I'm out. Bye.